One of the things about building a brand is that it's so important to be clear, to be something to someone, not everything to everyone, and also to be consistent.
What channels of distribution are you really bullish on?
I am most bullish on Amazon TikTok Shop. Amazon is where a vast majority of the search is happening across every category. It is unmistakable that there's a lot of brand discovery happening on Amazon. I genuinely believe that TikTok is a place for brand discovery and trial, and it is a place that every founder should invest time and energy. One thing hasn't changed, which is the customer. The customer is still the customer, and when you're building a brand, people buy from people. Customers vote with their wallet to support brands that reflect their values and represent who they are as people. So I think that's never gonna change. I am a 5-time founder, 3 exits. I'm now currently running a fragrance brand called SENS. However, the mechanics of this game have turned upside down, right, left, and center.
Hi, I'm Laura Meyer, founder and CEO of Envision Horizons, and we are here today for another episode of On the Horizons. I'm very excited about today's guest, a mother, a investor, and a multi-time entrepreneur and founder. Divya, it's a pleasure to have you.
I'm so happy to be here.
All right, so I am so excited to just learn about your experience and your forward-looking views. And you've built and exited businesses across multiple waves of commerce. So the subscription boom, the D2C boom, and now that you've also turned to being an investor, I'm curious, what patterns have stayed the same? Like, what are the constants? But then also, what has changed?
So one thing hasn't changed, which is the customer. The customer is still the customer, and when you're building a brand, people buy from people. So I think that will, forever exist, is that customers vote with their wallet to support brands that reflect their values and represent who they are as people. So I think that's never going to change, and that has always been the same. I am a 5-time founder, 3 exits. I'm now currently running a fragrance brand called SENS, and as you mentioned, have an investment fund, Concept to Co, where I back lots of consumer businesses and consumer tech businesses. So I believe that the customer is still there. People still buy from people, and that will never change. However, the mechanics of this game have turned upside down, right, left, and center. I don't know. They're all over the place. So in the early days of when I was building Send the Trend, paid media worked. I was early on Facebook. I was early, pre-Meta. I was
What
early
kind of CAC are we talking about here?
I mean, we're talking about you spend $100,000 a month and you get $1 million in revenue. I mean, the numbers were just through the roof in the early days of advertising because the platform was going so rapidly. The efficiency was there. There were very few people on the platform advertising. So the customer acquisition journey, leveraging technology for that subscription business at Send the Trend, everything about the timing was right and the mechanics were there. However, when you look at Wander Beauty, it was entirely different, right? Because then you had the flywheel. Then influencers became a huge part of the customer journey. So I would say the customer hasn't changed, but how you reach the customer has completely changed.
And do you think AI is hurting that, accelerating that, making it less personable?
So AI is a double-edged sword. It has made the ability for people to start a brand better, faster, cheaper than ever before. But now there's 20 times more competition because the friction of starting a business and growing a brand has now been removed by having the excellence of AI, basically being the machine learning behind this process going a lot faster and more smooth. So I think that I'm a big early adopter of AI, and I was an early Claude user, and I'm now a power user, I would say. AI runs my entire life. I mean, I'm on a Pro Max $100 a month plan, and we don't even count usage at this point. So I feel very strongly that AI has revolutionized and leveled the playing field for people to play. However, it has made it so competitive at the same time. Make sense?
Absolutely. One thing that I keep going back to is Javan's paradox, which is as things become cheaper and more attainable, the consumption of it also exponentially goes up. So the basic example is as gasoline prices come down, people drive more. Right. And it feels like, especially from a marketer's perspective, as in a way marketing becomes cheaper, everything just explodes in terms of how much activity you have to do. And if you're doing it the old way, you're very far behind.
Agreed. I just feel like AI has revolutionized how you can tell your story. It has allowed you to have a much sharper voice and to train AI to speak like you. That emotional storytelling can be powered with AI, but also the creative elements of being the touch points of your brand can be powered by AI, because AI has now removed the friction of paying an expensive designer or waiting 3 weeks for revisions and hiring agencies and firing agencies because they have too many clients. It now really has put, Claude Design has put a designer at every entrepreneur's fingertips.
Sure has. Bring the vision from your mind to light, even if you aren't a skilled graphic designer.
100%.
It's amazing.
And consistency. One of the things about building a brand is that it's so important to be clear, to be something to someone, not everything to everyone,
For sure.
and also to be consistent. So people, when they see your content, like for 5 cents, for example, we're Your Mood bottled, and everything about our brand is, we make feelings, not fragrance. And so it's so colorful and gradients. And before you even read anything on a social media post, our brand arrives with the visuals, the storytelling, the graphics, like the world that you live in with our brand it's there before even the messaging gets there. So it's like a brand can arrive with its visual identity before you even have to read the words.
So you have one of the most impressive track records. What do you think you got right in the beginning with the brands that you've launched? And how were you able to use that as an advantage?
So I had a distinct advantage in 2 brands in particular that I'll kind of surface. So Send the Trend was subscription. And I invested heavy in tech early. And I think that a combination of investing heavy in tech early and I had a full engineering team. So a subscription business that's in the consumer space probably doesn't need as many engineers as I had. I hired a great technologist. We built a proprietary algorithm for intelligent shopping recommendation technology. That became a big advantage to why we actually got acquired by QVC, which at the time was, doing billions of dollars of sales versus what's happening right now.
Correct.
And the reality is that I got timing right and I got technology right. And that was our unfair advantage, that I was early in the market investing, as I mentioned, in Facebook before anyone else was really heavily in that space. The cost advantages were there. The timing advantage was there. And then I used technology to accelerate that process and to make a better process for the consumer. So if it was raining in Seattle, I was showing you umbrellas on our site.
That's
because we had so many different data points that we're collecting in any different moment, that we use geolocation, we use shopping behavior, we use patterns across customers to create the most intelligent shopping recommendation journey. So we used geotechnology and all the data points we were collecting at the site to really create the most seamless, personalized shopping journey. When it comes to Wander Beauty, the unfair advantage I had is I was the customer. I was a time-starved mom of 2 young kids who was putting on her makeup on her subway ride from the Upper East Side of Manhattan to Midtown Manhattan to her office. I was doing my makeup, my skincare, my hair care. Everything was happening in planes, trains, automobiles, back of an Uber, in a subway. I was living my life in motion. And there was no beauty brand that was giving me the power and the permission to be gorgeous on the go and to feel like the most beautiful version of myself, and empowering me to have fewer things that do more and to tap into multitasking essentials. So I came from the vantage point of a customer who saw a gap in the market, saw a white space in the market, and created products and essentials across skincare and makeup that let people be gorgeous on the go wherever they wander.
By the way, your mascara is still one of my favorites.
I know. And I'm not wearing mascara today. And I'm feeling very sad about it because I meant to bring my Wander mascara to put on in the Uber, which I did not actually bring it with me. So there goes.
You have everything else going for you.
But, those were the 2 big advantages, I would say, in those businesses. I think with fragrance and with 5 cents, what I'm building now, I think I also, similarly, I am the customer. I've tried many clean, fine fragrance brands out there. And clean is the story. And to me, when I'm as a brand builder, clean is never the story. That's table stakes. That's the ingredients that you use, the sustainable choices you make in formulating your product or your brand. The story is the brand. I always say, I make feelings, not fragrance. 5 Sense captures your mood bottled. We tap into that emotional state. I take complex human emotions, I blend and bottle them so that you can wear them. Happy Tears is joy you can wear. Burn For You is desire in a bottle. In Too Deep is self-love in a bottle. So I take every fragrance, the name, the notes, the experience is tapping into that human emotion and allowing you to wear it and experience it fully.
And remind me, how many years old is 5 Sense?
That's a very good question. So I've only really been full-time at the brand for 6 months. So we're still very new, but the brand was started prior to that while I had a full-time job running Wander Beauty and selling it. So I was spending a fractional amount of time with the team. So I had come up with the idea. I'd started the brand. I knew there was a white space. I knew fragrance was hot. It's the fastest growing segment of beauty today. I saw that trend. I saw my own personal experience, and I decided to start a business. However, I was only able to dedicate my time, energy, and mind to this brand.
And you have a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and I was to this brand since kind of September 2025. So I look at that as the beginning of my journey, to be honest.
And what are you doing differently with this brand?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. So number one, I don't have a co-founder, but I do have a co-founder. So I don't have a human that is a co-founder, but I have Claude, which is my co-founder. So I am leveraging AI to be my co-founder, to be that sounding board, to help brainstorm, to help gut check decisions, to help run projections by. I have created an opportunity and systems for myself where I can leverage everything I know and execute it 15 times faster and better and cheaper, but also to learn 1 million things I don't know. And so I'm using AI in a way that I have never imagined could be possible.
And are you thinking about the staffing of this brand very differently than when you started your other businesses?
Absolutely, because I believe in human talent, and we have lots of human talent, but we have a lot of fractional human talent, because I actually believe that in prior businesses, I had full-time people owning their jobs and their roles. And when you're starting out an early stage business and you don't have the budget to get the best possible talent in a full-time capacity, what I've done is get the best possible talent in a fractional capacity, because I believe post-COVID we live in a fractional economy where most people are making life choices to balance multiple projects, multiple brands, multiple businesses, and enjoy their life and work from anywhere in the world and spend quality time with their families. And that has been a personal choice. And the economy has changed to this fractional nature of an economy. So you can get amazing people fractionally. And at the same time, you can eliminate busy work. You can eliminate process work. You can eliminate all of this stuff to make people do their best work. So humans are so important, and we have lots of them at 5 Sense, but we have them mostly fractionally. And we have a lot of agentic AI beneath them and support to make the best use of their skills and their talents.
And are you the one building those agents?
Yes.
And systems?
Yes.
Or do you have someone else supporting you on that?
It's a mix of both. Okay. So it depends what it is. So we have a lot of things that normally would be done by a human process, and now we've automated those processes and created just touch points where human need to interject. So a lot of operation stuff that we used to have a person do 6 months ago, now have been completely automated using
inventory
AI.
Forecasting.
Even that. It was fascinating.
Purchase orders.
Demand planning, all of this stuff, uploading past data. What did we sell on Amazon? What did we sell on TikTok Shop? What did we sell on our DTC? Then building behavioral modeling around what is going to happen in the future. Okay, but we're going to have a TV segment. So then we were on ABC The View. How does that impact our inventory? What did that do to us? If we have another opportunity like that, what does that look like? So we're creating an ability to take all of our lived experiences and data and to create a better, more intelligent model that creates less waste from a sustainability perspective and also from a time perspective and cost perspective. So our demand planning process is really just, it's unbelievable how much we have leveraged AI in that process specifically.
And it's the unsexy side of brand building.
Oh, of course it is.
But it's so important.
And it frees up so much time. So instead of spending hours and hours and hours looking at sales trends and spreadsheets and stuff, I can have an analysis on my computer in 10 minutes, which I've built an AI agent to basically create for me.
Okay, so let's switch hats a little bit here. So moving from brand founder to investor. I'm sure you are looking at a lot of different businesses. And it feels like every business with a pitch deck right now has the word AI in it. How are you kind of smelling through the BS or calling out the BS
So
of like what do you see as an actual AI driven company versus just using buzzwords?
So this is what's fascinating. I still invest in consumer and in brands.
Okay.
And so I believe in brands and I believe in human consumption of those brands. And I do a lot of my investing in beauty and personal care. So I'm still looking for opportunities where there's white space in the market, innovative product development, innovation, not imitation. I'm looking for passionate founders. That's
So you're
always
not
where
investing
everything.
in dupe culture?
No, not really. So I feel strongly that in the early stage, it's people, idea, opportunity. I'm looking at the founder very heavily during this stage. And so the founder is the bet in the early stage because the business is going to pivot, the product may pivot, the pricing may change, the channels may change. In the early stage, everything's up for grabs and anything can change. And you learn in entrepreneurship that the only constant is change. And so the entrepreneurships who are built to endure those pivots and make the most of them are the ones who survive and also thrive. And so I'm betting heavily on the humans. And when I back a founding team, I look at how they're using AI because now that's a different lens because a lot of people are using AI to write emails or review contracts or like do basic tasks. And that's completely fine and well and great. But if you want to stand out in this competitive space and landscape of every subcategory of beauty or consumer, you need to be focusing on totally different things. You need to build an audience as a founder. You need to take people behind the scenes in the building of your brand, the messy parts, the good parts. You need to tell your story. Storytelling is never going to go away. And I have to look at a founder and see, can this founder tell that story? And how, by the way, are they leveraging and using AI to tell that story? And so there are founders that are using AI for the contracts and the emails, but then there are founders that are actually immersing themselves in the ecosystem of AI to build community, to leverage technology, to build better human connections, who are, using a lot of the data, like social listening, for example, okay? Founders who listen to their customers get ahead. They understand that customers often give you your best product ideas. They tell you what to make next so you don't have to sit on a spreadsheet with a bunch of product development people and start guessing. You can do so much research and data and AI. You can use AI to go through Reddit forums and to understand what's happening there. You can use Claude Cowork to take control of your browser to understand every single complaint that's going through a customer service inbox. Founders who are leveraging AI in a more deeper way it is entrenched in their processes and their brand building and their research process and their marketing process and their product development process, those are the founders I'm backing. And that's what I'm doing as a founder. So I'm happy to openly share that journey. And I do that on my Instagram and TikTok anyway.
But do you think there's a risk for the quote celebrity CEO angle or just really being the face of the brand? Is there risk in that when they go to market with the product or with the business itself?
There's always that risk. I just think that if you're building community and you bring them along, I mean, like you and I were talking about this before about like, what does the first 90 days look like at a brand today versus like what it looked like years ago? You shouldn't even have a product. The first 30 days, you should be gathering input and doing research and bringing people along your journey. Then you should actually co-create the entire product with your audience. That investment that you will get from the community, that built-in desire to follow you along this process and to be involved in decisions about packaging, formulation, colors, branding, words, that connectivity and those human connections are what build brands. And so people are skipping a lot of that with like, oh, AI can make me great packaging and great formulation, everything's so much faster without a chemist, without a packaging designer. Like, that's great, but you're missing the most important step, which is community. I believe that founders should leverage AI to do a lot of the busy work so they can actually spend their time where it's most important, which is building connectivity and community. So yes, celebrities have a head start in building community and having community. Influencers have a head start. But that doesn't mean anyone can't start from scratch and build their own voice and their own community. And I actually really love that. I myself had no inbuilt community and have created my own every step of the way.
You're in my feed. What founders do you think are doing this really well?
That's a good question. So many founders. I mean, in the beauty space alone, I would say, Jen Atkin probably is just very real, very raw, and shares her journey, and is just very great at long form content, short form content, YouTube. There's so many new entrepreneurs that I'm seeing on social that are doing it really well. The guy who started the grocery store in New York,
like
Pickles,
the Pickles girl.
was it Meadow Lane? Is that Meadow?
Yes,
Yeah. And then there's the Butter Girl.
Butter Girl.
I think creating a signature series, having consistent visual language, showing up consistently, sharing the journey, opening with the same lines. That I said this early on. Clarity and consistency are almost 90% of the game. So you have to be clear and be consistent, and then you can find your people.
Is it safe to say a red flag would be a founder who doesn't want to be on social media?
Not necessarily. I think there are a lot of founders who choose not to do that, but that doesn't mean your brand shouldn't be on there. If you yourself as a founder don't potentially feel like this is something you want to invest in, I spent many years of my life not doing it. I've only recently really tapped into posting consistently. I was so busy running the business and running my fund that the last thing on my list was posting an Instagram post or a TikTok post. And then when I realized that sharing my journey candidly and consistently was actually helping me have better clarity to build, and that time was well spent, is actually been the unlock for me. So one thing I do at 5 Cents, which I highly recommend, is I do TikTok lives. And I go live. And I went live last night at 12:48 a.m. my time in my pajamas with no makeup on. And I was like, I just packed all these boxes for a lab sample for a new fragrance we're launching in May. This is right there. I'm partnering with the Dry Down Society. I'm giving some of their top members these lab samples. I wrote handwritten notes. Here are the USPS boxes. I showed them. I was like, here's the lab sample. Here are the mess up notes that I put on our stationery that I'm now going to recycle for art projects for my kids because I don't like to waste paper. And I just like when you show the messy parts of the journey, I was like, I'm awake right now. I'm so tired. I'm wired. And by the way, let's like just talk about what my day was like. And I wasn't there to sell. I was just there to storytell. Yeah. And in that conversation, multiple people came in the chat and said, why don't you make a 50 ml? Why don't you make a 100 ml? You only make a 30 ml. I was like, oh, well, we believe in building a fragrance wardrobe, not having a signature scent. And just the comments that consistently came in there and that connectivity with the community, it informs your product development life cycle. And there I was just bitching and moaning about how tired I was at night before I had to go to sleep and how much I had done. And so it's amazing what you can get from that two-way conversation in social media. And if you're not tapping into that, you're missing out. And if you don't want to do it yourself, it's okay. You still have to have connectivity, and you still have to have people in your brand and your business doing that.
It's like live focus groups.
Correct.
What they
Every
used to
day is a
be.
live focus group for me on TikTok.
I also want to talk about the tactical piece. What channels of distribution are you really bullish on right now, whether that be for your own business or for the ones that you're investing in?
I'm most bullish on Amazon TikTok Shop. Amazon is where a vast majority of the search is happening across every category. It is unmistakable that there's a lot of brand discovery happening on Amazon. And if you're not on Amazon, you are missing out on a lot of customers. That is number one. I do believe that brands that grow on Amazon aren't necessarily built on Amazon. Having the flywheel of activities across, Meta, influencer, direct mail, community events, influencer events, TikTok lives, like there's a flywheel of brand activities and marketing activities that build your business off of Amazon to make Amazon successful. So that's one piece. The other channel I'm very bullish on is TikTok Shop. I genuinely believe that TikTok is a place for brand discovery and trial, and it is a place that every founder should invest time and energy.
What about the unit economics of both of those channels?
So, truth be told, I have a lot of brands in my portfolio. As an investor, I have a good lens to see what's happening across so many brands. And I will say that a lot of brands are running their TikTok shop almost just break even because it's driving so much impact for the brand on other channels. So by investing in TikTok, having a flywheel of affiliates, having live content, having organic content, having paid content, and having that whole ecosystem of TikTok working, it is actually, even if it's break even or slightly profitable and the unit economics are clearly not as strong as DTC, It is driving more efficient meta spend for DTC and better unit economics for the DTC channel. It's driving more efficient unit economics for the Amazon channel.
How are you
So when you
seeing-
use that as the funnel, it actually has a ripple effect to the other channels to make them more profitable. That investment is worth it many times over. Not just, you can't look at TikTok Shop and say, I spent $1 on TikTok Shop and I got this much money back. You have to say, I spent $1 on TikTok Shop, and by the way, I got this many dollars or cents out of these other channels too, because it gave me a lift.
How are you seeing brands do the attribution of that?
I think it's somewhat math and somewhat science. I think obviously having tools like Triple will help you understand what is the flywheel and how that impact is happening. But a lot of it is just tracking, if you have a big organic mention or celebrity mention or big influencer mention or big TikTok video go viral, or it's an affiliate video that gets paid spend behind it with TikTok paid spend, you can see the impact. So it's very easy to see. And by using AI and leveraging all of the data and putting it together, you can see the whole picture. What you put in is what you get out. So the better inputs you have, the more you'll see on the other side.
All right. Are you ready for a little rapid fire?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Okay. Vogue style, almost. Trend that you're very bullish on.
Creator-led brands, founders that invest time and energy in building their audience, talking to their community, building that community, and taking that vantage point and creating their product or service.
Trends that are overhyped.
AI businesses, like I'm using AI. AI has made my brand. AI did my packaging. Like a brand has to come from a pain point and a problem, or it has to be something unique and interesting. And that comes from humans. And I think that if you're just taking an idea and using AI to make your packaging, make your product, make everything, it's telltale. And it just looks generic. So I think AI-only brand creation is very overhyped.
Best piece of advice for founders today.
Find one thing, focus, do it well, and then earn the right to start the next thing. I think too many founders try and do too many things at the same time. They try and speak to too many customers at the same time. They try and launch too many channels at the same time. The most successful founders understand the law of subtraction and that they should actually be doing less and focusing more, and they will have better impact in their business.
Brand you wish you invested in.
Anthropic, because Claude is my co-founder. A no-brainer.
That checks out.
That checks out.
Thank you so much for sharing your advice, your story, your perspective. It's greatly appreciated.
I'm so happy to be here.